Hello again, guys. My name is Voral, and I am here to discuss the part 2 to my theory. So I missed a couple of things when I did the other one because I was in too much of a hurry. This will be bullet points again, so if I say a lot, please excuse that. And also, another thing, I didn't realize until yesterday the right host was non-binary. So if I used the wrong pronouns from the last video, I am terribly sorry for that. I just didn't realize that until yesterday on Monday. I'm new to him, or to them. I am just a new subscriber to them, so I don't know their pronouns and everything. But anyways, let's get into this part. Now we're not going to talk about the mimic. It's going to be about Into the Pit because I didn't explain that very well, and I think I got the mimic down pretty fine. It's just Into the Pit. So let's talk about it. So if you guys don't remember me talking about this, the Into the Pit book is about a kid named Oswald who is living with his mom and dad. His mom is a nurse and his dad works at this one company, and basically they don't have enough money to go on a fancy trip. So he gets dropped off at Jeff's Pizzeria, but he's so mad at his dad for not going on trips and for picking up late, so he ends up hiding into the ball pit. And each day goes by and he meets these friends because the ball pit takes him into the past in 1985. And he goes back and forth like a few times, and then all of a sudden the missing kids incident happens, and the Yellow Rabbit shows him this incident. And basically, once when he comes out, his dad is yelling at him, but he gets pulled into the ball pit, and then Oswald has to live with the Yellow Rabbit, who has replaced his dad, and he's the only one who can tell that that is the Yellow Rabbit. Everyone else thinks it's his dad. So when he goes back, he gets back into the ball pit after a few days and pulls his dad out. But then the Yellow Rabbit attacks Oswald and ends up actually biting a huge bite into his arm. And the rabbit ends up getting tangled into the actual nettings of the ball pit, and then it gets strangled to death and dies. And they have a heartfelt warm moment and they leave. So that's what I kind of want to talk about. The theory that I had for this was that Oswald, when he sees the missing children, or I guess missing kids incident, is what happens is he's looking through the eyes of the crying child, and that I believe the crying child was actually seeing the last of the missing kids incident. And I didn't bring up a couple of things, so this might be short. I don't know how long it's gonna be, so bear with me real quick, okay? So I talked about the theory as to why I thought this was true, because I don't think Oswald is the crying child, because in the epilogue of the ball pit one, the first Fazbear Frights book, basically what happens is in this epilogue, the Stitch Wraith, which is like this animatronic thing in the books, and it's being controlled by two kids, and it killed a few people, and a police officer or an investigator is trying to catch it because it killed so many people. But these kids are trying to bring back memories to these other children, so that way they can go to rest, because they were killed by William Afton in the books, or a version of William Afton in the books in a sense. So basically, the Stitch Wraith gets into the ball pit as well and finds out that the ball pit is actually just a hive mind for these souls that ended up getting their memory stuck into the ball pits because the balls start like glowing. So it's like a little hive mind for like, it's like, I don't know how to really explain it. It's not a time traveling ball pit. It's like it took Oswald and sent him into a memory, like a core memory. Like, kind of think of Inside Out when you see those little orbs. I'll put a picture up here about what they look like, but it's kind of like that. They sent Oswald into like a core memory of what happened to the missing children's incident and how everything is with that. So to me, it just feels like he was seeing through the eyes of the crying child, which would probably be another kid being stuck in there. Because the Stitch Wraith, when he goes in, the Stitch Wraith actually heals all the kids, and the ball pit is finally like not haunted anymore with all these core memories of what has happened to these kids. And that's what the entire thing is about and everything. So what I am trying to like get to is, just because Oswald went into the ball pit and he felt like he was actually being taken and everything, like I said, he's not the crying child. He's his own person, and it's not like the kids interact with him like he's a normal person, like he's actually there. And that's probably how it works. And with the Stitch Wraith, it was kind of different because the Stitch Wraith is just like, it has souls and stuff inside of it. It has like 2 boy souls in it. And basically, it's different from what they take. But anyways, the reason why is because Cece would have been, the crying child would have probably been another soul inside of that ball pit, and probably would have needed to like be, you know, put to rest finally at last. And basically Oswald would have been just like seeing through the eyes of basically the crying child. And I know a lot of people like talk about this book tearing the entire timeline because of the fact that there wasn't, when the first book came out of Into the Pit, it was literally, there was 6 missing kids. But then people were like, well, there wasn't 6, there's 5 if you, and so there's not 6 of them at all, but there's 5 in the games. And so a lot of people thought this was either a universe thing or a retcon. Well, then the workbook came out and it got changed to 5 kids instead. And then everyone was so confused because of this reason. I think there was a reason why this got changed. I think that Scott was trying to tell us that maybe, just maybe, because the missing kids incident didn't happen in one whole day. It happened in different days. Like 2 kids went missing one day, another kid probably went missing another day, and then the rest went missing. And this caused a big, huge thing to happen. And basically, when Oswald gets into the pit, I think that crying child saw the last parts of this incident with his dad. And even if he wouldn't have known it was his dad, he still would have seen the bunny suit that, you know, his dad would have worn on that day. And basically, Oswald would be seeing through the eyes of the crying child. And I think there's a reason why there was 6 kids as well. I think that because, think of it this way, if Charlie and the missing kids incident did happen first before the crying child actually did die, this would mean that Charlie would have known about the kids dying and would have also tried to show Crying Child, if his theory is correct, that his dad, this isn't the first time his dad had done that. This would be like showing that his dad had killed before, and Charlie was the first, and then the missing kids would have happened the second Charlie was dead. And if this was in 1985, this would make sense, because the bite of 1983 happened, and then there would be like, I think the last theory I talked about was that David might have actually gotten hit by a van in front of a Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, and that was why I thought Charlie was dead first, because Henry would have made the bracelets. If this is true, Henry would have made those bracelets because of David, and it's not because of Charlie or because of Cece dying first. It's because David died first. And so if that theory is true, this would mean that the bracelets were made so much earlier than FNAF 2 and than what we thought. And maybe we were wrong. Maybe the second location was built like sooner. And if it was, then that would kind of like throw everything out of balance. I know this doesn't sound very promising. I don't have a lot of evidence for this one bit. But anyways, basically, the theory would be that if the Crying Child saw the missing kids incident, Charlie would have known about it as well. Because in one of the lines from Ultimate Custom Night, in one of those lines that she says, or that the puppet says, it's what Charlie says though too. She says that she was very aware, and the others are like animals, because they didn't know that they were technically dead because their bodies were not found. But Charlie's body would have been found, would have still been in the puppet, and maybe, just maybe, she knew about the missing kids incident. And so if Crying Child actually did see this, then she would have told him, or showed him at least, the figures of the 6 kids, because if he saw the last of it, it would probably be like, what, maybe 2 or 3 kids at least, and he wouldn't have known about it. And then, if that's true, then Charlie would have showed him the other 2 bodies, which would be hers and also Susie's, and everything else, depending on like how that is. I didn't look up the newspapers for this of what it says on there, because I just want to get this done. But basically, whatever the newspapers said in FNAF 1, because this is how you get those hints that the missing kids incident actually did happen and what days when they went missing. Basically, the newspapers tell you how many kids went missing on a certain day, and so that's where it gets. And it's also the reason why we knew that William was convicted but wasn't actually like charged with the murder, because of the fact that there was no evidence to prove this. So let's start with the full story. Forget about Into the Pit. The Oswald thing, I think, is just Oswald is seeing through the eyes of the Crying Child after he had died, telling us that maybe the Crying Child actually saw the events. So let's get into the story. So it's one day in 1985, and tons of kids are having fun. All of a sudden, Susie, who we know is the first that dies by Afton, ends up actually dies and then gets stuffed into Chica. And then the rest of the kids go missing as well and die as well. On the last day, when William actually does this, the Crying Child accidentally sees his dad go into the back rooms. He's probably checking to make sure that nobody actually saw him kill the bodies of the missing kids in the first place. After that, Crying Child goes and follows the yellow rabbit. He doesn't know if it's his dad, but he probably is assuming that it is his dad. And what the crying child sees is that he sees two bodies. But then Charlie shows him the shadows of the spirits of two other bodies. People are talking outside, I don't know what's happening. Anyways, so Charlie shows him the other bodies that he had killed for the other like deaths and stuff of what William Afton did, showing him that this is not his dad's first rodeo. And basically after that, the crying child realizes that he has seen and witnessed, or not witnessed, but seen the death of these kids. He runs and hightails it out of there, kind of like how Oswald does, and Henry tries to stop him and tries to calm him down. But then he gets distracted by the parents of the other missing kids saying, hey, we're missing our kids. And then because there's like 5 different kids missing from this, basically the police and investigators get involved and they search that place top to bottom but can't find anything. Meanwhile, William is at home talking to the crying child because Henry lets him know, hey, your son is like really scared. I think you need to go talk to him because he won't talk to me. So William goes to talk to crying child and he tries to get the information out of him. The crying child doesn't know if it was his dad or not, so he says, I just saw a man in a bunny suit in the back rooms with dead bodies. And so later on, investigators have to ask questions for William and Henry, and Henry mentions, or even William could mention this, one of them or both of them could mention that crying child saw something, and all he would have to say to the investigators is it was the man in the bunny suit. The investigators who would be searching the entire place saw a picture of Henry and William. Henry wearing the golden Freddy suit and William wearing the golden Bonnie suit. And if Cece said, I saw the golden rabbit in the back rooms, or whatever he said, they would have arrested William because they just know it from the pictures. And also depending on different accounts too, they probably could have gotten witness accounts that said that William was gone. But because of such, and later on, they would actually be like, they would go and arrest William and basically try to get him charged for these murders because they would think, oh, well, the kids are killed or murdered because of the fact that, that's just what happens. So they try to convict him. They can't get him convicted for the murders of the kids, and he walks home free. I just started noting. Oh, I wonder. I just thought of this. What if this was also the reason why Michael actually bullies the crying child? I wonder, because this would mean that William was probably arrested at home, and I bet you that is probably why Michael actually bullies the crying child. It's not because he's crying, it also might be because he got his dad arrested because of the fact that he said this one fact, and Michael would have known because crying child would have said something about it. Oh, I just thought of that. That's not on my bulletin, but I just thought of that. That would make so much more sense why Michael would actually be bullying. He would be so mad. And plus, in 1985, he would be young enough to get mad like that. And he's a teenager. We don't know how old he is. In 1987, he would have to be like maybe 16 or 15 if I'm thinking right. About 15 or 16 if you think about it. But anyways, that would be another reason why Michael bullies the crying child. It's because his dad got arrested and he blames the crying child for it because he was the reason why. And that's probably why he bullies his own little brother for it too. And so anyways, scratch that. Sorry, that was just another short theory I just thought of just now. So anyways, after the event of him getting captured, William would make the circus animatronics. After that, Elizabeth would die, and Crying Child would see Elizabeth die in the hands of it. But he would learn to keep quiet because of his dad trying to like tell him, don't tell anybody. Just keep it quiet, I'll figure it out. And then Elizabeth is said to be missing when she's not missing in the first place. And then that's basically how the rest of the story plays out too. Crying Child gets bitten by 1987 and ends up dying, basically, and stuff. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to cover because I knew I missed something. But yeah, tell me what you guys think of this in the comments down below, and also like and subscribe. If you guys want to see more videos like this, I will do a lot more video theories, but they won't be probably like this where you see my face all the time. It'll be with the other character thing. But remember that I still do games. On Sundays I do Sunday theories, and on Thursdays I try to do book theories. I haven't done one yet, so hold up for that. Hopefully I'll be able to do one, like, I don't know, maybe next Thursday. But I also play games like Dislight. That's the game I was trying to think of the last time. And also Reverse 1999. I've also haven't found a game for Pride Month yet, but we still are in Pride Month, so give me a little bit to think of. A game, I mean. And thanks you guys for watching. Have a good day. Bye!